Good morning to one and all. I am Professor Shreya Trivedi from AKDMC, Jamnagar. I hope you all are fine in this critical situation. Um, in the previous lectures, we have studied about different theories, okay, in Indian poetics. Now, Indian poetics is nothing but the Sanskrit poetics, okay. The name only suggests that the theories are basically given in Sanskrit by our great Rishi Munis, great rhetoricians, okay, and that too in BC and AD, okay, far back years, okay. So here we are studying. First, we have studied the Ras theory, then we came to Dhvani theory, okay. Each and every theory are different from each other, okay. Every rhetorician thinks that his theory is the basis of um any poetry, okay. Suppose if I give example, then Bharat Muni thinks that Ras is the soul of poetry, okay, while Anandvardhan thinks that or he says that Dhvani is the soul of poetry, okay. Now we will study about Alankar 3. In the previous lectures we have studied somewhat about Alankar theory. Now here, first of all, let me very clear that somewhere the spelling of Alankar will be Alamkara, okay. But somewhere there can be there we can see that the spelling of Alankar is Alankara, because in Sanskrit lam, okay, Alamkar, it is spelled as Alamkar. Now some will spell as ma and some will spell it as no, so it depends, and both the spellings are correct, okay. But uh, very close to authenticity, the spelling of Alamkar will be Alamkara, okay. So if you search in the net also, you will see different spellings, but more the spelling is used as Alamkara, okay. Now Alankar theory is given by Bhama, okay. Various rhetoricians have given these theories, but the main theory is given by Bhama, which we have to study, and this is in our syllabus. In 5th or 6th century, Bhama, the promoter of Alankar tradition, introduced his theory, okay. So this theory was given far back in 5th and 6th century. He expressed his views focusing the need of beauty in the poetry writing, okay. He Ras theory, okay. In Bharat Muni's Ras theory, Bharat Muni concentrated on Ras, okay, sentiments, or rather we can say sentiments in the poetry. Then Dhvani, uh, it focused on the language of the poetry, okay. In Alankar, Bhama expressed his views focusing on the beauty of the poetry, okay, or we can say beauty of poetry writing. The poetry will be beautiful and attractive only when the poet presents his idea in figurative language, okay. He says that poetry will be beautiful and attractive only and only if the ideas to be presented in poetry will be in figurative language. Figurative means uh, the language which has in it figures of speech, okay. In English we have studied figures of speech, okay. So here it is said that the language which has figures of speech in it, that language should be used in poetry to make it more beautiful and attractive. According to him, a woman cannot be beautiful and attractive without use of ornaments. Likewise, a poem without figures of speech is uh, nothing, okay. He proves that alankars are the main source of the beauty of the poetry. According to Bhama, alankars are the basic need to create beauty in the poetry. Bhama strongly rejects the sound effects and add melody to the poetry. Okay, he rejects sound. He says that to make poetry beautiful and attractive, there should be no sound effects, because this is poetry and not the music. If it would be music, then it is okay, but this is poetry. Then he has mentioned major literary genres of kavya forms. Then it is said that different followers are there of the school. As I said that each and every theory is discussed in a different way by different rhetoricians. Okay, but the school is one. Why the school? I say why I'm saying that school is one. That suppose the Rus is being discussed. Okay, then it will be discussed in the Rus school only. Okay, then we can say Dhwani. So the Dhwani theory will be discussed in the Dhwani school only. Likewise, Alankar will be discussed in the Alamkar school only. Okay, so the different rhetoricians which have been giving their point of views regarding alankars, they will be belonging from alankar school. Okay, then comes meaning of alankar, that it is made up of two main words, that is alam and kar. Alam means to decorate and kar means to do. Okay, so thus it is alam kroti iti alankar. Okay, means what? To do the things decoratively, that is called alankar. Okay, Dandi says in his Kavya Darshan, Kavya Shobhakaran Dharman Alamkaran Prachaste. Those things which decorate the poetry are called alankars. According to Dandi, in his book Kavya Darshan, he says that the things which decorate the poetry are called alankar. Okay, as we say that the things which a woman wears as the ornaments are said alankar. Okay, so likewise the things which decorate the poetry are called alankar. Thus alankar is said to be figures of speech, which means ornaments. Okay, just like the woman use ornaments to enhance her beauty, alankars are used essentially to enhance the beauty of poem. Then comes variance of opinion about numbers. The number of these alankars according to poeticians varies. Okay, the number of alankars. Now this is the most debatable theory among Sanskrit poetics. Okay, this theory has been discussed widely among various rhetoricians, and different rhetoricians have given different numbers of figures of speech, or we can say different number of alankars. Okay, so the number varies from person to person. The number of these alankars according to poetician varies. Mammat gives explanation of 67 alankars in his Kavya Prakash. Vaman explains 31 alankars. Bharat counts 4. Udbhat 41. Rudrat 68. Vagbhat too gives 69. Vishwanath 84. Jayadev 100, and so on. These scholars give more stress on the Arth alankars, and they have more importance than the Shabda alankars. Okay, these rhetoricians, okay, the name given above, that Mammat, Dandi, and many others, okay, Vishwanath, Vagbhat, Rudrat, Udbhat, Jaidev, everyone, they focused more or we can say they put more stress on Artha alankars than on Shabda alankars. Okay, then we discussed about chapterization and classification. Bhama is deemed to be the oldest advocate of the Alankar school of poetics. His Kavya Alankar is divided into 6 chapters and contains 398 verses. Okay, the book Kavya Alankar, which is given by Bhama, and he is said to be the oldest advocate of Alankar school, means he is the oldest one in the Alankar school. Okay, in his book Kavya Alankar, Kavya Alankar book is divided into 6 chapters. Okay, and in total it contains 398 verses. The first chapter contains 60 verses. Okay, the first chapter which is there, that is Prayojan, okay, objective of poetry, it contains 60 verses. The first one among the chapters are, first is Prayojan, that is objective, then second is Hetu, Third, the requisite qualification of kavya, that is a good kavya must have what things, okay, or we can say the kavya, a good kavya will have certain things, and the discussion of it are discussed in this chapter. Then comes classification of kavya, okay. Then kavya is being classified by according to Bhama. Then comes its constituent elements, which are the elements which are there in Alankar theory, okay. Along with this, he also discuss Riti, Gun and Vani Dosh, okay. Now you will be confused that what are this. These are also small theories which are belonging from the Indian poetics, okay. Now, we don't have these theories in our syllabus in this semester, but later on it can come in the masters. So you just remember one thing, that Riti, Gun, Dosh, everything is one of the theory in Sanskrit poetics. Chapter 2 deals with guns, figures of speech, that is simile, metaphor, deepak, yamak, okay. Then gun, that is also one type of theory in Sanskrit poetics, and chapter 2 deals with that. Bhama recognized about the 3 dozens of them, okay. Bhama recognize means he gives about 3 dozens of figures of speech. He gives equal importance to natural poetic genius and careful study at the proper equipment of a poet, okay. He gives equal importance to poetic genius also and to language also. The creative writing, besides giving uncommon and unmixed pleasure, fulfills some other function as well. For instance, he is of the opinion that a good poem, its reader's proficiency in the 4 goals of human and fine arts, in addition to pleasure and fame, okay. According to Bhama, this is the only way where you can add pleasure to the reading for the human beings, okay. This is only the fine arts which gives pleasure and fame to the poet also. Then, according to Bhama, alankars are broadly classified into 2 groups, okay. Now this alankars are being classified into 2 groups, that is Shabda Alankar and other one is Artha Alankar. Now the name only suggests that the first type of Alankar, that is Shabda Alankar, focuses on the Shabd, that is word, okay. So we can conclude that the figures of speech related to words are uh, classified under Shabda Alankar, okay. It is the combination of 2 words, that is Shabda plus Alankar, certain specific words or sound that create an ornamental effect in verse or a poem. There are 3 in numbers, okay. The words which are embedded to create beauty in the poem, that is called Shabda Alankar. First is Anuprash, that is alliteration. When a consonant word repeats serially more than once, okay, the consonant sound or word which is repeated more than once, that is called Anuprash. Example, a big boy beats a baby boy, okay. Here the b sound, that is big, beats baby and boy. Now the b sound is repeated many times, more than once, so this is called the alliteration, or we can say Anuprash. Then comes Yamak, that is homony. When the same word repeats more than once, but each time its meaning difference, okay. Here we can say the word is repeated more than once, but the meaning differs from the first one, okay. Example, come close and close your eyes. Now the word close is repeated more than one time, but the first close is its meaning is near, and the second clause meaning is shut, means come near and shut your eyes, okay. Then it comes slash or pun. When a word is used once but it gives more than one meaning, okay. When the word is used once but it has more than one meaning, okay, then it is said to be slash. Example in Romeo Juliet, Mercutio, who is ever joking, is fatly stabbed, but before his murder, he explains that tomorrow you shall find me a grave man. Here, grave means serious, but it hints that he is going to be murdered or his death is near. Okay, so here the word grave is used once, but it has more than one meaning. Okay, or we can say different meaning. Now we will come to Artha Alankars. Means what? Here the word only suggests that the meaning, okay, the Alankars which focuses the meaning is said to be Artha Alankars. It is the combination of two words, that is Arth plus Alankar, that is meaning plus ornaments. The meaning or sense of the word that creates the required enhancement. They are 32 in numbers. Okay, here we can say that the meaning which are being focused to create the beauty in the poem are said to be Artha Alankars, or yes, Artha Alankars. Okay, there are 32 in numbers. We are taking some of them. First is Upma, that is simile. When a person or thing is compared in words with similar but famous or well known person or thing to create resemblance. Means what? One thing is compared to other thing, okay, to create the resemblance means to compare it, then it is said to be simile. Example from the poet Robert Burns, written in 1794. Oh my love, like a red rose that's newly sprung in June. Okay, this is the poem by Robert Burns. Okay, here the first line only, it is the first line of the poem, that oh my love's like a red rose that's newly sprung in June, means his love is like a red rose, okay, that's newly sprung in June, means just as the rose has newly been created in the spring, or we can say in June, then his love is also like the same. Okay, so he is comparing his love to the newly made flower, that is red rose. Here in simile we can identify it, with the words like or as. Okay, then comes Rupak, that is metaphor. On account of the existence of common quality, the identity of Upame with Upman is described. Okay, Upame and Upman means the thing which is to be compared is called Upme, and the thing which is compared to is called Upman. Okay, here we can say there is a indirect comparison. Okay, while in simile or upma there is a direct comparison between the objects. Rupak, her voice is music to his ears, means what? Her voice makes him feel happy. Okay, what it is said, her voice is music to his ears. Music means આપણે એમ કહીએ ને કે એનો અવાજ કોયલ જેવો છે. વોટ ઇઝ દેટ? દેટ ઇઝ સિમિલી. બટ એનો અવાજ કોયલ છે મીન્સ વોટ, કે એનો અવાજ એટલો બધો સુંદર છે, એટલો સાંભળવામાં મજા આવે છે, એટલો મીઠો છે, દેટ મારા કાનને સંતોષ મળે છે. ઓકે, સો હિયર ઇટ ઇઝ લાઈક દેટ ઓનલી. Then comes Atishyoक्ति, that is hyperbole, an exaggeration of ideas for the sake of emphasis to evoke a strong feeling or to create a strong impression. Means the ideas are being evoked but through exaggeration. અતિ વધારે પડતું બોલવું. શું કામ બોલવું? તો કે એના થ્રુ સ્ટ્રોંગ ફિલિંગ્સ ક્રિએટ થાય મગજમાં. For that reason this Atishyoक्ति is used in the poem. For example, W.H. Auden's poem As I Walked One Evening. I will love you dear, I will love you till China and Africa meet and the river jumps over the mountain and the salmon sing in the street. I will love you till the ocean. See here, all these things you read once only, then also you can make it out that China and Africa cannot meet. Okay, river can't jump over the mountain. Okay, but still he says like that. This is the hyperbole કે ભાઈ આવું કંઈ થવાનું નથી, છતાં એ આવું બોલે છે. This creates a strong romantic feeling of the poet for his beloved. Okay, so this is called Atishokti. Then Apanuti, that is conceit, using simile other than its true and obvious application. Donne has used conceit in The Flea, where he compares the union of two lovers. This flea is you and I, and this our marriage bed and marriage temple is. Okay, means what? It is kind of simile only, but we cannot think that this can happen. Okay, આવું જરૂરી નથી. Flea એટલે જોન ડનની પોયમ છે. ઓકે, ફ્લી મેટાફિઝિકલ પોએટ છે, અને એ ફ્લીમાં એમ કહે છે કે આ ફ્લી છે ને એ હું ને તું એટલે આપણા બેનું પ્રેમનું પ્રતીક છે. શું કામ? તો કે ફ્લી એટલે એક ટાઈપનું મચ્છર. ઓકે, એ મચ્છરે આને કરડ્યું અને એના બિલવડને કરડ્યું. એના એ કહે કે સ્ટમકમાં બેયના લોહી મિક્સ થયા છે. મીન્સ વોટ? આ છે એ આપણે બેય છીએ. ઓકે, એટલે this is called conceit. Okay, it is kind of simile only, but a different type of simile which we can't think that this can happen. Bhama lists rest of the alankars in his Saman Bonam Kavya Alankar as Arthan, Taranyas, Ananvay, Akshep, etc., etc., etc. He dominantly states that Vakrokti is the main figures of speech which helps to beautify the poetry. Okay, according to him, Vakrokti is the main figures of speech to beautify the poem. Now you will say what is Vakrokti, but after this theory we have to discuss Vakrokti theory only. So we will discuss in that only. Thus in Kavya Alankar, Bhama described in detail about the importance and example of Alankar. Bhama's Kavya Alankar is divided into 6 paricheds. It comprises 398 verses at the end of 6th chapter, which briefly describe the number of verses on each of the 5 topics. In the first verse, it comprises of 69 verses. Bhama mentioned his work as Kavya Alankar. It defines Kavya and describes qualification of good poet. It also narrates various genres and style of poems, which include Vedabi and Gaudi. Okay, so here we have what we have discussed earlier, it is repeated. In the beginning of the 2nd chapter, 3 guna of poetry, namely Prasad, Madhurya and Oja, are discussed. It is followed by the discussion about the Alankars, which continues till the end of 3rd chapter. The 4th chapter mentions about the 11 types of dosh, that is blemishes of Kavya, and defines first 10 of those dosh with illustrations. The 5th chapter discusses the 11 dosh and its causes. It is based on the Nyay Vaishik epistemology. The 6th chapter emphasizes the necessity of the grammatical accuracy, and some practical hints to the poet are also provided. Okay, here it is given that in different chapters what are being discussed about. Okay, so this is all about Alankar theory. I hope you all are getting what I am telling. Please revise what we have done up till now, because these theories are very difficult, not only to read, not only to teach, but difficult to write even. Okay, so please refer each and every theory every time, because it is going to be difficult for you also. Okay, in exam. So please repeat it again and again, and don't forget to comment your name and roll number in the comment section. Thank you, and see you in the next lecture.